Hello, Chris.
How are we doing?
Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, we've had so many questions in regard to our breakfast workshop we did.
Fantastic.
So there was a lot of questions around your 3 pillars to
Yes.
marketing that you recommended, and it made so much sense. I see so many business owners get burnt and spend so much money on SEO, and then look at their website and find out that it's, you know, a 10-year-old website or something like that.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of valuable insight from the breakfast.
Fantastic.
And questions have come in, and so we just thought we'd take this opportunity to go through some of them, and if people out there listening have got other questions, they can type them into the question box, and we will answer them as they come through.
Great.
The questions that have come through over the last week since our workshop, the first question that seems to be on so many people's minds is, you know, why or where, you know, am I currently positioned on Google, and why is that? So when people Google, say if I'm an electrician and people Google electricians in north of the river, you know, why am I where I am?
Yeah, and that's a great question. When people sort of Google themselves, a lot of times they're coming up 1 or 2, and a lot of that's got to do with they're searching from the same computer every day, but it's not actually their current or organic rankings. So it's incredibly important to really look at the overall picture and have a strategy, and then that will help determine where you're actually positioned. So you know, being a small business ourselves, it's something that we look at every day. Where are we currently sitting, and why are we currently sitting in that position? So that will enable any client to design a proper strategy around, okay, how do we go from page 2 or page 5 for certain key terms and get onto page 1, which is obviously where everyone wants to be when it comes to Google. So a good starting position is always look out and search for your name. Where are you ranking when it comes to your name? And if you're not on page 1 for your own name, you know you haven't properly set up your websites, or you're not doing any SEO currently on your website. So it's always a good position to sort of start and just go, okay, where are we actually sitting? Next thing I would look at is key terms. What do we want to be ranking for, and where are we currently ranking for those key terms? That certainly sets you up to then look, okay, do we need a proper SEO strategy in place? What does that consist of? Are we running AdWords? Do we need to do it? Are we running a remarketing campaign? How do we run these certain things?
I'll hold you there for 1 second, just in case there's new business owners listening.
Yes.
Just a little bit of terminology. Say if I'm brand new to business, what does SEO mean? What does it stand for?
Great. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's been around pretty much since the dawn of Google. It's incredibly important for any business to have good organic rankings. It's the lifeblood of generally their online presence or their online, I guess, strategy. I would never recommend to any client not to have a proper SEO strategy in place. I think it's incredibly important, and it's only getting more important. I think the split in Perth alone is about 80-20. So 20% of your traffic, if you're running AdWords, will come from AdWords, and the other 80% will come from your organic search results.
Okay, so AdWords, they're the ads up the front.
Certainly are.
And the organic is when you search your business that you're looking to find. That's the ones that just come up naturally. So generally, that's why they use the word organic.
Yeah, so generally the top 3 or 4 things, depending on what key terms are being searched, they're going to be your AdWords, and you'll generally be able to define these by, in the top left-hand corner of the ad, you'll see a little ad icon pop up, and then you'll generally see below that will be the map section, which has a lot to do with your Google My Business and where you're currently searching for certain things geographically. And then everything below that will generally see a number 1 to 10 through. That's your organic ranking right there.
Okay, yep, that makes a lot of sense. So with people who are actually looking at increasing their presence organically or naturally when people are searching, you mentioned about keywords. Now again, if someone out there is listening, is new to business and new to all this terminology, keyword, what do you mean by keyword?
So keyword could be anything from a service or a product that you're offering.
So this is what people actually type into the Google search.
100%.
Yes. Okay, so these are the words that people are typing into the Google search. So when we're looking at what are the words people type when they're looking for our service?
Yeah. So, and I guess a key way to look at this is what are people actually searching for, and
Yes.
is my website accurately representing those keywords, or are those keywords actually on my website, so I'm coming up for those key search terms. So that a lot of that's got to do with your website content, and then obviously your SEO strategy. And then if you're running an AdWords campaign, are you directing those people to that page on your website? It's incredibly important. For example, electrician, if they're doing certain things in regards to hooking up
like RCDs or something
like that, you want to make sure you're directing people straight to that page on your website, so they can get the most amount of information they need. And then obviously setting up your call to action, so you're engaging those people to either pick up the phone and call you, or send you an email inquiry, or fill out a contact form.
So there's actually something that they can do that's in your website that's related to the keyword that they've actually searched.
100%. That's what we want people doing. We want to be directing them straight to that page so they can get exactly what they want. The more we do that, they're actually more inclined they are to use us for product or service.
Yes. And when we had our breakfast workshop, you talked about the 3 pillars of marketing needing to be in that particular order. The first one being branding. Now, as a business coach, I have people often that come to me and say, look, I've just paid for my new logo. I'm so proud. It cost me $20 from Etsy. I'm really good. But then they don't have any kind of consistency in that. Can you explain a bit more about, the importance of branding being the first step?
Yes. So, I mean, from my time over the years working in the marketing and advertising industry, I've really seen 3 things distinguishingly stand out for me. The first of the 3 pillars, I believe, is obviously your brand. Having your brand properly set up. It's covered across all your social media channels, your website, your cars, your signage on the front of your buildings or offices. All these relate to how your brand's perceived in the marketplace and the messaging you're trying to convey to those particular people you're trying to engage, whether that be current clients or new prospects. Exactly. So your brands becomes incredibly important. So a lot of the issue I see out in the marketplaces at the moment is people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars on marketing and digital marketing, and then you look at their website and it still looks like it was set up in the 1990s. And that's just one of the aspects that we engage with every day. So the first thing I always look at when I'm going out and speaking to any business is, have they properly set up their brand? Is their messaging correct? Have they got the same branding across all medias, whether it be social?
So that's logo. When you talk about branding across the mediums, you're talking about the same logo, the same colors, the same fonts, the same pictures. All of that is consistent. And I think the other thing I see is in branding, it needs to be consistent with them, who they are.
Exactly right.
I've seen, like, I had a time recently when someone was advertising that they were this amazing fitness guru, and they came to see me about growing their business, and they were actually a fat slob. And so their brand wasn't actually congruent with who they really were.
Couldn't agree more.
So they've got all these pictures of all these six-pack svelte people, but that wasn't actually who they were. It makes sense.
It can deter people from using your brand as well when you're painting this pretty picture, and then you go out there and they see a completely different image of what the business is actually about. So it's important to have your messaging, your imagery, how you're presenting yourselves to clients, the way you actually want to be represented in those lights as well. So your brand's the first point I would always look at before addressing any other issues you may have with your marketing strategy and online and offline as well.
And so then the second pillar that you mentioned a lot in our workshop was making sure that this branding is congruent with your website and relevant and also current.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about what's important for how we can do that with our website before we start the SEO, before we start digital marketing.
I mean, the biggest issue out there in the marketplace is probably people not having a very good brand and then not translating across to your website. I'm currently working with a client at the moment, and we're sort of structuring, we're going to be spending hundreds right now, hundreds of thousands actually on digital marketing, but his branding's not consistent. The signage on his building's different. His social media is we've actually just got that back on track. So now it's all congruent with actually what the website looks like too. So we have to change the website branding as well. it can get lost in your messaging. So making sure your website reflects exactly what you're trying to perceive your brand is most important, because it's your biggest marketing tool. It's up there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, can be accessed from anywhere around the world, and is your main marketing tool. Should have the most up-to-date information on there about services, products that you're currently offering into the marketplace, and obviously accurately represent who you're trying to target, who you're trying to bring into the business as well. So that messaging needs to be conveyed properly. So when I'm looking at a website, I'm looking, is it consistent with what they're telling me?
Yes.
Is all the imagery up to date? Generally, when we look at and we do branding for people, we actually paint out, hey, this is the type of imagery you should be using, the type of imagery you shouldn't be using based on what we've discussed and the brand that we set up for clients. So making sure that's accurate and up to date is always critically important. That then flows into your digital marketing strategy. And how well your digital marketing can be perceived out into the marketplace. It's incredibly important that those things are up to date and properly represent your business.
So it's almost like your website is the hub that everything else comes back to.
Exactly right. Your social media should be directing people to your websites. Any marketing, whether it's print, TV, radio, you're going to have 7 to 8 touch points before someone is going to say, I want to use you guys for a product, or purchase a product, or use you guys for a service. So they're eventually going to go to your website. If they don't go there first, they're definitely going to have a look at it before using you in any way, shape or form. So it's important that your website is up to date, represents your brand the correct way, and has all the accurate branding across it.
Yeah. And another thing that I've seen, working with clients in my role as a business coach, is often sometimes people they might have a great website, but they've basically paid for a generic website.
Yes.
So back to my example of an electrician, they might just have paid for or bought off the shelf or got someone in India to do a website for an electrician.
Yeah.
So it's a great website for an electrician. It looks wonderful, but it doesn't actually spell who they're looking for.
Yes.
Who their target market is, when possibly they're, really very experienced in industrial electrics, or work up on the gas mines and up in the mines and things like that.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that our website represents who we do business with and the problems we solve for our target market.
Could have said it better. Content's key.
Yeah.
If your content's not accurate or up to date in any way, it's going to probably have relevant. Exactly. Yeah. It's going to have a negative effect on your business and how your marketing is perceived out in the overall market segments that you're trying to target. So it's critically important that you have good content, and the content is exactly what you want to be on your site and then perceived out into the marketplace as well.
So when you say, Chris, good content, what would you say is the definition on a website of good content?
Look, good content's not just going on a website and changing a few keywords every now. It's got to be good content that's optimized for Google. So you're actually coming up for the search terms and keywords that you want to be ranking for. So having an SEO provider properly optimize the content. It's not just about having a really good copywriter write you some fantastic content. It's then got to be optimized for Google so that you're actually coming up for certain key terms and rankings. Another thing that sort of happens, I guess, out in the marketplace is people get too technical. And if you get too technical, sometimes people aren't going to be searching for some of those technical terms.
Yes.
So it's important to make sure that the language that you're using for content on your website is what people are generally going to be searching for out in the marketplace.
Yes.
So we say that and we stress that it's incredibly important. Good content isn't always necessarily the most technical search terms to use. It's about what the average person searching for and making sure you're coming up for those terms.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And that I had somebody mention once to me that the actual pictures on your website also relate to the content.
Yeah, yeah.
So that they're relevant, because I've seen some people just get stock pictures of pretty girls, but they're not actually relevant to the topic that we're talking about.
Exactly right. Everything on your website's going to be relevant to what you do and who you are.
And Google can tell, can't it?
Certainly can. So you want to make sure you bang on with your messaging and what you're trying to perceive to the market.
Yeah. And the other thing which, you know, sometimes people talk about, a question here that came up a lot, how do I measure how effective, you know, what I'm doing as far as if my website's right? Can I see how many people go to my website, or can I see where they came from and that sort of thing?
You generally can. Your Google Analytics should be set up, and any web developer that's building a website for you should also set up a Google Analytics account. If you don't already have one, you should definitely have one.
So what is a Google Analytics account?
Google Analytics account is basically just all the stats and data of people coming to your website, where they're coming from, the geo areas they're coming from.
And this is set up by Google.
Directly set up by Google. It's probably, it's not 100% accurate from time to time, but it's the most accurate way we can measure how well our website's doing. We can generally see the health of the website in regards to, is it good traffic coming in? Are they coming and staying on the website and looking around, or are they just coming and going? So we get all this data from Google Analytics.
Is it costly?
No, it's set up free. So it doesn't cost you anything to set up. That would then help, I guess, any digital marketing agency determine how well or how, I guess, accurate their campaigns are. Are they hitting the market segments they want to hit? Is it being fruitful in terms of generating business and return on investment for the client? It also gives client good insight into what's happening with their website. So if there's any things that are broken, links or pages that really aren't getting the information across, or aren't getting the amount of target audience that they hope to it, they can adjust these things with their web developers and also with the digital marketing agency that they're using.
That would be very, very valuable.
It's a given. It needs to be set up for any website. If you don't have it, then you've got no idea how well your website's actually doing for you.
So perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's also, I think, really key when you talked about the keywords that we know. When we look at our website, what are the keywords that people are searching when they come to Google Analytics? Get into that much detail? Can they tell us what keywords people are coming into our website from, or whether they come from Facebook or LinkedIn?
They can tell you where they come from in terms of LinkedIn, Facebook and that. In terms of keywords and that, you're generally setting that up with your AdWords campaigns. That's going to be more accurate to see how well certain keywords are actually doing for you. With your SEO as well, we can sort of direct them to certain pages on the site, so we know, hey, that keyword is doing well, that search term's not. Then it's up to the SEO provider to really improve your rankings by, you know, writing blogs, changing the content. Blogs are really key, I think, in any SEO strategy these days.
So what is a blog? If I'm someone who, again, not been in business before, and they hear about these blogs, what is a blog? What does that mean?
A blog is generally, we can say anywhere from 300 to 500 word article, a good way to put it, on a certain product or service that you're doing, or it could be anything that's happening in regards to the market. I mean, digital marketing agencies are probably the best example of how to A, write blogs, and B, the type of content you should be writing about. In regards to my business, any blog we're putting up is in regards to services that we're offering, new things that are happening. It could be Google, for example, just brought out all their new, I guess, technical stuff that's going to be happening next year in regards to SEO. So it's going to change the way we're approaching our clients in terms of our SEO services. So new things we've got to start to implement for our clients, and improving on certain aspects. So a good blog should accurately represent what you want to be coming up for, what people are searching for on Google, and providing clients with good information, and showing that you guys know what you're actually doing and what you're talking about. It's a great way to demonstrate, hey, we know ... about this subject, so we're knowledgeable. Come to us if you want some more information, and we can provide the best possible service for you as well. So it's a great way.
Valuable information.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to put your best foot forward out in the marketplace.
And that goes on. Someone just asked a question. That goes on the website.
Yes, it goes directly on the website. It's a new page on the website. It then gives you authority with Google, or credibility. So Google can then start increasing your rankings for those keywords that you're using within that blog.
Okay, that's great. So we've got a really beautiful image in our logo. We've got a great, our branding is very succinct. It's across Facebook, it's in our signature, it's across our LinkedIn profile, and it's the same in our website. And I'm sure, you know, all of us have been, you know, to a website and then gone to Facebook and they're totally different branding, and it's like, oh, have I got the wrong company here?
Exactly right.
So we've got all our branding sorted out. We've got a beautiful website. It really reflects who we are, what we're about, and who our clients are.
Yep.
So the next step is to say, all right, I'm ready. I'm poised. I'm ready to have some digital marketing strategies written for my business.
Yeah.
So when someone comes to you and asks about digital marketing, do you do the search engine optimization and the Google AdWords at the same time, or do you normally do one without the other, or do they both happen together?
Generally, we look at every client as a unique, and we customize every strategy to what that client needs. So yeah, you would definitely, depending on, I guess, budgets as well, which is incredibly important these days for any business coming in. We may run them at separate, but I generally run both campaigns at the same time, because SEO is directly affected by the amount of traffic that you're getting to your website. Perfect. So AdWords is designed to get you leads and traffic instantaneous to your website. So it's going to directly affect how well your SEO improves quickly and how well we can get you onto page one or get your rankings increased. So I would always run them at the same time. I would also run that with a remarketing campaign. So we're making sure that anyone coming to our site, we're following them around for up to 90 days with our branding on any website that sells advertising space. It's incredibly important that we keep your brand or the client's brand at the forefront of anyone's mind, because generally people may not decide straight away to use your product or use that service or purchase that product from you guys. But we want to make sure that we're following them around and we're keeping our brand at the forefront. So when they do make the decision, hey, they see and recognize, hey, I remember seeing that brand around. Let's go with them.
They'll go with you.
Yeah.
So when you talk about following them around, are you saying that if I search, say, electricians in Google, and I find some electricians, and then I go off and look somewhere else, you then might come after me and pop up as an ad? Is that
they're going to go direct? Our remarketing campaign is designed for people that have gone to your website. So if they've looked at something on your website, we then want to...
So I've gone to an electrician's website.
We've gone to their particular website. We've had a look around. We can then follow that client up to a potential client for up to 90 days. So they're seeing our branding. They're seeing the key messages which our remarketing campaign is trying to portray to the public. They're getting all that stuff, and it's all good things at the end of the day, because in terms of remarketing or display banners, if it's not your business up there, it's going to be another business. So it's a critical thing these days to have in your digital marketing strategy.
Very sneaky.
Yeah.
Very sneaky. And here was me sitting there thinking, oh, wow, the ad's just come up. How does it know? I was just thinking about
generally
that.
Relates to what you've been searching for.
Very sneaky. And are they expensive?
It depends on what you're trying to do. Are you doing an Australia-wide campaign? Are you doing a global campaign? Or are you just focusing on Perth? It all depends on that and what the strategy and goal is of the actual campaign. So for some businesses, it's big. Yeah, it's expensive because they're trying to target, massive demographics or massive geo areas. So it all depends on what the strategy is.
Okay. So everyone's different.
Everyone's different.
Which is the case.
Yep.
A question here in relation to the search engine optimization. We've had a few people ask about Google My Business page. Yeah. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah.
A bit more about that?
It's a free service that Google provides to give your, I guess, a business sort of like a page almost, where it can portray stuff like, your phone number, your business hours. People can leave reviews for you.
Okay.
You're able to update content on the Google My Business page. So another thing we do is we post our blogs and certain imagery across the Google My Business page. It's more, I guess, a quick stop for someone that they may be chasing just your phone number or your address. But
is it sort of like Google Maps?
Yeah, so having a Google My Business page allows you to come up on Google Maps, essentially. Yes. So with our Business Studio 22, when people search for us, it pulls up the Google Maps section. We come under there. If anyone's searching for, digital marketing agency and they're searching in the South Perth area, Studio 22 will come up on the maps because they're within that area. So having a Google My Business page is a no-brainer for any business. Optimizing it's another thing. So part of our SEO strategies for our clients is we optimize their page. We make sure we try to get them more reviews. Reviews are critical. So it allows any potential clients to leave reviews. So another key thing to do with your Google My Business page is if someone leaves your review, you answer it, whether it's good or bad. It just shows your attention to detail and allows businesses to see hey, these guys are really on the board here. They're answering
Yes.
this person's question, or this person's had a negative experience and they've quickly addressed it. So it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. I think a really key thing with your Google My Business page is answer the review. Say thank you for leaving a review, or if it's a negative review, try and address it. Hey, why was your experience so great? Is there anything that we can do to help you, or improve on the service, or address the issue that you have? It's incredibly important. And just making sure the information is actually correct. A lot of the problems I see with Google My Business page, people have got wrong website addresses up there. They've changed location and haven't updated their actual address.
How many times have we looked up something and gone to drive there and it's not the right address?
It's not the right address. So making
annoying.
sure that that information is actually accurate and up to date is incredibly important. And it's really simple to do. So letting your digital marketing company know, hey, this is our new address, so they can, I guess, address that and update it on your Google My Business page is incredibly important. And there's nothing better than when people search for Studio 22 Perth or your own business, and your actual page comes up. It's got your logo on there. It's got the location. Generally pops up the office building or the warehouse, potentially where the location of the business. And then obviously the Google Maps section, making sure you're coming up in that is incredibly important.
It just makes, one of the things that, I often talk to my clients about is make it easy to buy off you. How
100%.
easy it is to buy off you. If it's a real hassle, people just give up and don't, they don't bother. So if the address is wrong, if the Google Maps easy, it's simple, it's clean, if the website's easy to read, if the branding's all synchronized, if you're coming up lots of times, it makes it, in their mind, in the buyer's mind, a no-brainer.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head then, making the end user's experience as simple and easy as possible to get the information or purchase a product from you. They'll be more inclined to do it on the spot or use you guys later down the track. And repeat business is key for any organisation. Making sure the customers that they currently have are coming back and using the website, using the Google My Business page to get information, making it easy for them as well is incredibly important too. So it also enhances your rankings at the end of the day. Google loves that. Anything you use with Google products, they will increase your rankings. So
where you come up on the
organic ranking, your SEO ranking essentially too. So
Great.
It's incredibly important to have that set up.
Perfect. And I've heard, and we've probably all had the same thing, somebody ring from, a telesales person saying, oh, hi, I can get you on, page 1 within 24 hours or something like this. Through my experience of 10 years of working with business owners, SEO, the search engine optimization side of digital marketing, it's a long-term strategy.
Great way.
The short term is the Google ads, but the long-term strategy is SEO. And I genuinely, if someone's working with a company that knows what they're doing, that's a reputable company like yourself and Studio 22, is it maybe around 6 months. I would expect that that they would need to have at least 6 months to invest in the time and money to have a good solid campaign built of SEO.
Yeah, and I guess that 6 month mark, you should really start to see some improvements and change. You're not necessarily going to be on page 1 after 6 months for certain key terms. But yeah, you should definitely start to see improvements across the board after that 6 month mark. You put it correctly there. SEO is a long-term strategy, and a great example is a client of mine. He shut off SEO for a month while we were transitioning from another company to ours, and he lost ranking straight away because it was such a competitive space that he was in, and some of those keywords that he really needed to rank high for, he lost ranking straight away because his competitors were also trying to rank really high for. So that continuation of the work that they were doing was seeing them leapfrog him. So it's important. It's a long-term goal, but at the end of the day, if it's something that once you do, you shouldn't really stop. And it should be a part of any marketing strategy that you're implementing into a business.
So if somebody is in that situation, they're currently paying for SEO, they might not be happy with their person who they're dealing with because they might not be transparent enough. How do they stop? If they wanted to have a conversation with you, or they wanted to change their provider and say they wanted you to do their SEO, how do they avoid that gap of going back down to the bottom, back to the bottom of the line again?
Yeah, it's always an interesting question. I think if the current SEO provider is not the best and not doing good work, realistically, you shouldn't see too much happen if you're switching over to another provider if they're only going to improve on what they're doing. Generally, if you've got a good SEO provider and you're looking to change to another one, you shouldn't see too much rankings drop off. I wouldn't say have a gap between jumping from one provider to another.
Have no gap.
No, you
have a seamless transfer.
have a seamless transition. And, you know, most agencies out there these days would work with the next agency in a transfer. Sometimes you might get unlucky and you've got a stubborn agency that doesn't want to make your life easy. But at the end of the day, it's something that I wouldn't have a gap in. It should just continue and be a seamless transfer over to the new provider.
That makes very good sense. Now, I've got a question that just come through here. Someone's looking for a short-term fix.
Yeah,
What would you do with someone in that situation where they said, I need leads and I need them fast?
Well, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is Google AdWords. That's I guess a short-term fix. I don't see digital marketing as a short-term fix for anybody. It's something that you should look at implementing over a long period of time. Yes, everyone's going to have short-term goals, and there's certain channels and services that will help you achieve those short-term goals faster. But look at digital marketing as something a business should be doing year-round, 24/7. Obviously, there's some businesses that have seasonal campaigns operational, but you should still have an overall campaign running 24/7, 365 days a year, I believe. They're the companies that get the best results out of digital marketing because it flows into your overall strategy, it flows into your outdoor media, your print, your radio, your TV. If you're doing those services, it just gives you more credibility at the end of the day. And people, as I said, those 7 to 8 touch points, they may see you in the paper, then they may see you on your social media channels, they may see your remarketing campaigns. We want to make sure that your brand's being properly represented out there and across as many medias as possible. It's only going to enhance what the results that you get.
So with while we're talking about short-term fix, have you seen people get short-term fixes from Facebook, and do you have anything to do with Facebook?
Yeah, so we obviously run Facebook campaigns, advertising campaigns. We also manage Facebook accounts for our clients too, and that by managing their accounts, that means we're creating the content that what's going up there and stuff like that as well. Yeah, you're going to have, if their goals are short-term in certain ways, like they're running, say, a Christmas campaign as we're about to enter the Christmas period, yeah, we can definitely get results from them, and based on that, and it all comes down to, I guess, budgets, what their overall goal is, what they're trying to push out and sell, what products and services they're focusing on, and that too. So, yeah, we look at stuff as from a holistic point of view, and is there any other things that we can enhance the social media campaigns that we're running and really have a positive effect on that. So yeah, we do social media, we run Facebook, Instagram campaigns, we do everything at Studio 22.
And you've seen people get a bit of a short-term fix from Facebook?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It all comes down to what their goals are and what they're focusing on. But yeah, you can definitely get short-term, I guess, relief or short-term success. But overall, you should be looking at a long-term goal.
Yep. Great. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
There was another question that has come up quite a few times that I really wanted to broach with you today. Overseas, when people are investing in someone to take over their whole digital marketing strategy overseas because it's cheap.
Yes.
What have you seen? How have you seen this work?
I'll be honest, I haven't really seen it work too well. A lot of, I guess, the nightmare stories I've seen over my years in the industry is people having Indian companies run their digital marketing strategies. A lot of black hatting SEO still gets done out of India and that, which has a real negative effect on your website. And
what did you call it?
Black hatting SEO.
What does that mean?
So it's where, I guess, negative techniques are being used to try and increase your rankings quicker and get you onto page 1. But overall, Google will come across that, and then they end up, I guess, blacklisting your website, and then you can never get back there. You pretty much have to start again. So
that wouldn't be very good, would it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So my advice to any business here in Perth or in Australia is use companies in Australia. There are plenty of good digital marketing agencies or advertising agencies here in Australia that are cost effective as well. I definitely see some agencies in Australia doing some great work that are cheap as well. My advice for Perth-based businesses is do it with a Perth-based company. No other agency is going to know your business better than a Perth-based company that can sit there. You can have a face-to-face meeting with them. You can go into their offices. You can build a relationship with these agencies. And at the end of the day, the best outcomes or the best, I guess, success stories I've seen are relationship-based businesses. So
absolutely.
you go out there, you're having a relationship with that agency, they're looking after you, you can pick up the phone and call them and know you're speaking to someone in Perth. To me, they're the best agencies to deal with, and also they're going to get you the best results.
Yeah, and I can imagine if someone was in India or in the Philippines or something like that, and they were running, you know, your social media campaign or your digital strategy, it would be very hard, I can imagine, for them to understand the current, you know, things that were going on in that market, and also to use the current lingo.
One of the, I guess, the all-time stories in which I speak to clients, I had a client based in, back in the day, I had a client based in Rockingham, and he had an Indian-based company running his marketing, and they were marketing purely to Joondalup. So they just didn't understand the geo regions, the graphical change, you know, where he wanted to market himself, the difference between Rockingham and Joondalup.
That's funny.
Yeah, plenty of horror stories out there. So my advice to anybody that's listening or going to watch the videos that we caught up is do your marketing here in Perth with an agency. There's plenty of great agencies out there. You may not necessarily have to use Studio 22, but there are agencies out there that you could use that do fantastic work here in Perth.
Fantastic. And so for people who are in business or who are starting a business, and they've got a really great website up, and they're just said, you know, we've ran out of budget, we're just going to go with the website and sit and do nothing. You know, from my point of view, I can see that as there's no point in having a really great website if it's invisible, if nobody's seeing it. So if someone's looking at investing in a website, investing in a business, I really, you know, can't stress the importance enough, if you're wanting to get regular clients, to actually be able to budget for those 3 pillars, because I just don't think it's like, okay, we're going to budget to build a house and we're going to build the foundations, which is, you know, your branding. We're going to build the walls, which is the website, but we're not going to we're not going to put the roof on it because we didn't quite budget for that. You know,
good analogy. I like that.
Yeah, because really we've got the foundation strong. We've got the branding. We've got the great websites. That's the shop, you know, the shop front, the digital shop front for us. But then the umbrella that pulls it all together is all these different social media channels that have to point us to here.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be seen, and we're not going to get, how can we expect to get business flowing to us if we're not actually having everything pointing to us and optimizing it? Just like, you know, we're building a house and we're wondering why we're getting wet. Well, we don't have the roof on because we haven't finished the job properly.
Yeah.
So
no, look, and any business that I think it's a good one for any business that's starting out, you do your brand first, you get your brand correct, and then you do your website. If you haven't budgeted for digital marketing, you really need to go back and look at your business plans and go where maybe we went wrong. Why don't we have the money to do this? Or did we actually put this in our budget? I guess another thing that may pop up. But yeah, you're spot on. There's no point in spending money on a great website, doing a fantastic brand, if you can't then market yourself and get your brand out there.
Yes.
Brand awareness is key in any marketing campaign. If you haven't got the awareness, your marketing campaign isn't going to be as successful. So yeah, incredibly important. You must have a budget for marketing out there.
And talking about budget, a question has just come through saying, what kind of budget range are we looking for an effective, you know, digital marketing solution? So if we have got a good website, if it's current, we've got our branding, you know, succinct across our different platforms, what sort of budget would we say would be worth, you know, giving people a ballpark figure?
Look, I guess every industry is different.
Sure.
If a lawyer came to me and said they want to do SEO and they want to rank for lawyers Perth, Perth lawyers, I would say you're going to need a bit of work done on that. So your SEO is going to be quite high in terms of the overall work that needs to be done on that. They say the average small to medium-sized business is probably spending between $2,500 and $3,500 per month on digital marketing, and that's probably a variety of services. I think that's a good launching pad. There's certainly different industries that need to do more. Some industries need to spend more on Google Ads to get fast leads coming through. Some people, as I said, need to spend a lot more on SEO. But I think a good launching pad is around that $2,500, $3,500 per month. And that will see results get through. I think any digital marketing agency should be able to get you some type of results. Whether or not it's going to be life-changing and bring you millions of dollars through the door, I think you've got to be realistic with your expectations when you're starting out. And any campaign, you may have competitors down the road that are investing double that. So you're not going to be able to get as good a results as someone down the road that's spending double your budget. So be realistic with your expectations. Don't just go down the road and listen to your digital marketing salesperson coming in the door saying, we're going to bring hundreds of thousands through the door, yada, yada, yada. You really want to look at that and be, well, I know my competitors are spending 2 to 3 times what I'm able to spend. So my expectations should be, almost 2 to 3 times less than what they're bringing in. And just holding yourself, I guess, accountable as well, and understanding that your budget may not be able to change the world for you, but it's a good launching pad. And I think any campaign that I start off with, there should always be a phase 2 and phase 3.
Yes.
You should always be looking to do more and increase more because you're getting results from what you're currently doing. And I will say this to everybody, your marketing's not an expense, it's an investment. It should be getting you a return on investment. So your digital marketing campaign that you start out with in year 1 shouldn't be the same 3 years down the track. No. It should evolve and change, and necessarily means you should be investing more, but that's because your business is growing and you need to obviously bring more revenue through.
Yep. And I was at a conference recently in Edinburgh, and Brad Sugar said, show me your marketing budget and that'll show me how serious you are about your business.
Massively.
And he says there is a direct correlation between the marketing budget that people have allocated for marketing to how confident they are about their future and where they want to take their business. Because he said the marketing indicator is just 3 months prior to the results you want.
Yeah. And I say that to everybody. If someone goes to me and they've spent all this money developing a brand and setting up a business, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they've got $0 for marketing their business.
It's like building that house without that roof, Chris.
100%. 100%. You've got to be realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a small business as well, but we've got a marketing budget, and if we have it, everyone should have it. And we're a marketing agency, so
yes. And having it percentage based is often very useful because then you can actually scale it.
Yes.
The other point you've made there, and we'll have to wrap up shortly, is that have you got a budget?
Yeah.
And then that goes back to the business plan, because the budget comes out of the business plan. Your target market comes out of your business plan. People will come to me and I'll ask them, okay, well, what's your budget for marketing in your, in your budget, in your business plan? Who's your target market? What problems are you solving? And they're like, oh, I don't know that. And I'm like, well, okay, show me your business plan. Oh, I don't have a business plan. Okay, well, let's sit down and get a business plan first. And then we'll look at our budget. We'll look at where you're sitting. Oh, I can't afford a business plan. Well, if you can't afford a business plan, you shouldn't be going into the business. Exactly the same as, if you're wanting to get new clients, you need to have a budget for marketing, or you shouldn't be bothering starting the business. Because,
exactly right.
Unless you're going to go and knock on every door in Perth and have the time to do that, well, it's a bit silly because
it is.
It's like setting up a failure.
Yeah, so many businesses I've encountered every day. There's probably at least 2 a day that I sit down with, don't have a proper strategy in place, don't have a proper business plan. Some of them have been operating 12 to 15 years and they couldn't tell me what their gross revenue or their revenue was for the previous year. You've got to know these things. You've got to have a proper plan in place so that your business can be successful. And so that you can go to sleep at night not stressing, hey, am I going to be able to keep the lights on for the next month? And involved in that is a marketing plan. Every business needs to market themselves, whether they've been around for 20 years or they're just starting out. You need to have a proper marketing plan. And the age-old thing is, I hear my business is purely based on word of mouth. Yeah, fantastic. Every business gets word of mouth, but how can we enhance that word of mouth?
Yeah.
How can we get more word of mouth business through the door? And if you're solely relying on word of mouth to keep your business afloat, you're going to be in for a rude awakening sooner or later, because that word of mouth will eventually drop off.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how good you are, businesses evolve, new competition comes on the market, and they steal your client base. So you always have to be marketing yourself and marketing your business if you're serious about it.
Yeah, and often word of mouth I see is, oh, I saw them on Facebook. We were looking, you know, I was,
Yeah, exactly right.
and that's the
exactly
word of
right.
mouth. It comes from social media.
Exactly right.
So if people who've been listening today, or if people have any questions in relation to this, I think you've offered the generous offer of doing a complimentary audit of people's 3 pillars of, you know, whether they're you know, at the branding stage, whether their website's at the right level, and where their digital marketing is at, to just have a quick analysis of that. Is that something they just contact you through their website?
Yeah, you can jump onto the Studio 22 website, fill out an inquiry form, and then one of my team or myself will contact you directly. We book in a time, we come out to your business, we sit down with you and really learn about your business and understand what you're going through, what you've done in the past. And then we work out, I guess, the best possible steps to take. We look at your brand first, then it flows onto your website, and then obviously digital marketing strategy. So it's, we do that complimentary, and we, as I said, we make it really easy to understand and guide you through the process. So you're generally not sitting there going, how much is all this going to cost? It's one step at a time, and we'll take you all through it. So jump on the website and contact us. Great.
And transparency is a word you've mentioned many times in our conversations, because I think transparency is something that we don't often link with you know, digital marketing people. So you're trying to break that that, you know, I suppose, reputation, and really infuse transparency as part of, you know, your branding.
Exactly right.
So that people know you to be an honest, upfront, this is how we're working. You know, for people, if they're wanting to get, you know, have an honest conversation about where they're at, and it might be hard to hear that someone might sit there and say their website's not looking too good. Chris is happy to talk to you. I'm happy to give you an outsider's perspective from a business coach, and look at, you know, from the outsider's point of view, you know, what's your overall plan, what's your vision to take the business, and who are the clients you're looking for, and getting a bit of a plan together for that. So more than happy to talk to people myself as well in relation to that. So I hope this has been invaluable, and send further questions if you want to. Either direct them to Chris or myself, and we are happy to answer them. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.